This is Smokin Jamgrass. I'm Brian.
I'm Jolie, and we'd like to share with you the music we love, progressive bluegrass, and its roots. First and third Sundays of the month from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on KMUZ.
You and I headed straight into the west.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. Today we are celebrating Thanksgiving and Oregon family with some Smokin Jamgrass with all the trimmings.
We're super jacked for this one. We're trying to keep it down home as everybody's coming home to, get together with their families, and we're trying to keep it with local artists this episode.
Coming up later this hour, a band that we've never played on Smokin Jamgrass before, and they're Portland-based. It's Never Come Down. We're going to hear a couple of songs from their latest album. In just a little while, in a new segment here on Smokin Jamgrass we call What's New. But before we do that, we've got a nice long chat coming up with one of our favorite Portland musicians, Tony Furtado.
We've been wanting to get Tony on the show for a long time, and it's kind of a dream come true to get to talk to him and hopefully expose some people to him and people that already know about him and play some of his great music. He's got a great new album out, and we're really stoked to have him on this episode.
Definitely part of Oregon family.
To get you warmed up, we're going to play the title track from his 2004 album, These Chains. It's live from the Venue Library stage and at the Eugene Celebration, September 8th, 2006. And this is a really great recording from taper Dean Grabsky.
Thanks, Dean, and thanks for all the tapers always. Without you, we wouldn't have this show.
Let's get that gravy rolling.
A chat with Tony Furtado on the other side of this song, These Chains on Smokin Jamgrass, KMUZ.
These chains all around me, holding tight, holding steady. Lost my love, earthly treasure, lost my hope, lost my future. Sold my soul to the goat man, sold my pride to a dirty rich man. Southern sun, mean as can be. Southern heat, killing slowly. Swinging knives, digging ditches, raising cane and burning bridges. 7 son, 13 brothers, I'm the one, there ain't no other. Winds of change, come gather round. Carry my soul from this killing ground. Winds of change, come gather round. I carry my soul from this killing ground. Walking dead man, move my bones as fast as I can. Lost my way to the graveyard. Life round here's been getting so hard. Bury me in the swampland, under miles and miles of quicksand. Winds of change gather around me, winds of change can set my soul free.
It's Smokin Jamgrass on KMUZ. We just heard These Chains by the Tony Furtado Band at the Eugene Celebration just down the road in 2006.
You are listening to Smokin Jamgrass, and we are ever so grateful this Thanksgiving week to feature Oregon family and one of our favorite musicians from Portland. It's none other than Tony Furtado.
Hey there.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
I'm doing good.
First off, how would you just describe your music?
Well, I always say it's roots-based. I call myself a folk musician. When I say roots-based, I always mention bluegrass and blues and jazz and folk, you know. But it's mostly original music, mostly stuff I write.
Yeah, and you've been doing this a long time, Tony. What really kind of spurred you? You know, we've seen the great picture of you opening the birthday gift or the Christmas gift or your first banjo. It's such an awesome picture, and obviously, you started at a young age. You grew up in California.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I grew up in the town of Pleasanton, and you know, there weren't too many banjo players in Pleasanton in the late '70s. I gravitated toward it only because when I was in 6th grade, we were instructed to do a report on a musical instrument and make the instrument out of household items. And I was very handy with my hands. I've always liked making things with my hands. And at the time, I was making a lot of those balsa wood airplanes. And so I started dreaming up what I would make. I was thinking I was going to make a violin out of a pie tin and stretch some paper on the pie tin, put a stick on it, rubber bands for frets, and fishing string for the strings. But then I thought a little further. I was like, wait a minute, this looks like something I've seen on TV called a banjo.
Nice.
And because I watched Hee Haw and the Beverly Hillbillies at my grandparents' house a lot, and so that's what I decided to do the report on, was the banjo. And I found it came from Africa, had this really rich history of being played in a lot of different types of music. And it was different, you know. So after I did the report, I really, really wanted to learn how to play it. And so my folks got me a real banjo on my 12th birthday, which is the picture you saw.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I thought it was Liam when I first saw it.
Yeah, we look a little bit alike,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
So, Tony, you know, what brought you to the Pacific Northwest?
I would say every time I toured through Portland, I just felt like I was coming home. You know, it just felt really like a natural place for me to be. Having grown up in the Bay Area, I was used to some rain and foggy days, and you know, I was fully looking for that. At the time, I was living in Boulder, Colorado, and you know, I needed a change at that point. I ran myself through the ringer a bit, and touring, playing a lot of the party time gigs that I was doing in Colorado, and also the dry air, the high climate.
Yes.
I was gradually making a transition to being more of a songwriter, and do songs that were more lyric based than the instrumental stuff I was doing. And so, you know, it all made sense to make a change, and this one tour I did coming through here just kind of sealed the deal. I remember sitting at a restaurant on Hawthorne and with my band and just kind of going, I think I need to make a change. This feels like the right place to be.
And what year was that, Tony, that you moved up?
I moved here in 2002.
2002, right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we had great times going down to the Buffalo Gap. I can't remember if it was Tuesdays or Thursdays. You had open mic down there, and we go down there and see you a bunch, man. It was just really fun times.
Oh, those were fun times.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was I started doing the Buffalo Gap after my short stint living in L.A.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was there for a minute back in, I guess, 2004 to mid 2005 or something, maybe.
Ah, okay.
And so when I was done down there, I remember my booking agency at the time said to my manager that they wanted me to be off the road for a little while. And I said to my manager, if I'm going to be off the road, I want to be back in Portland. So
nice.
We made that happen. I got myself a couple of regular gigs that I could just kind of try new music, work the local crowd and have fun. And that was what the Buffalo Gap gig was about for me.
And before you kind of got into Portland, you signed with Rounder Records early on, and you've played with quite a few other musicians. Who are your heroes and your influences?
Well, it just depends on when you're talking about.
Right.
When I was a kid playing the banjo, I was really into banjo players like J.D. Crowe and Alan Mundy, Bella Fleck. I was really into Bela's stuff. Once I turned about 15 or 16, I started working out all the tunes I could that he was doing. He was about 10 years older than me, and he started young in his career, and so it was like, okay, when I'm 19, I need to make my first album. Just started set my career goals by that. So nice. after I was mainly a banjo player in the industry for the first handful of years, making my first albums banjo focused on Rounder Records, I came to the place where I needed a change again, and so I remember hearing a Ry Cooder album and thinking, boy, I love this. And I always loved slide guitar. And so that's when I was about 24, 25, 26, that's when I decided to start digging in on slide guitar. Ry Cooder was my hero. David Lindley, too. Taj Mahal, Blind Willie Johnson. I got really deep into that stuff. And I got to know a gentleman named Kelly Joe Phelps back then, too. We became friends, and he was a big inspiration, gave me a lot of folks to kind of chase down their albums and check out. And then as things go on, I got deeper into songwriting, and then my heroes kind of shifted into that direction. I got into Tom Waits, I got into all kinds of songwriters and loved listening to songwriters that used words like colors. Being a visual artist, I just liked that concept. Not necessarily telling full obvious stories, but kind of treating songs more like a painting or a sculpture, and letting things be more up for grabs as far as the meaning is concerned with the words.
What is your songwriting process like? Do you start with an instrument? Do you kind of hear the lyrics in your head? How does that work for you?
It can be either way or both. My favorite is when I've got the instrument in my hands and the melody and the words come at once. That, of course, is the best. Mm-hmm. But I guess generally a lot of times what happens is a melody will come to me first. Mm. And then I kind of wait for the story to create itself, or wait for the words to come. You kind of mumble through things, see what words are fitting, and record what I'm doing always. And if it doesn't come right to me, then I set it aside and come back to it with a fresh mind. And sometimes I'll have something going in my journal where I'm like, I'd like to put some music to this and see what works, and then you go from there. Right. That's a good way too.
Yes.
Nice. So a song we hear you play a lot, "Oh Berta Berta," and so that one, I was looking it up. Did you derive that from an old prison song that's already out there, and then you kind of made it your own?
I did. There was a time back before I moved to Portland where I was acquiring as many of the field recordings as I could of chain gang music. I can't tell you why. I think maybe it's got something to do with the raw emotion that's locked in there. Also, it's something completely different from my experience. And when you hear guys singing for their sanity and for their survival, and you hear the folk process happening right there, you know, songs are being created on the spot with little bits and pieces from other songs with lots of symbolism locked within. Yeah, and I heard that song Berta several different ways, you know, and so I just kind of started messing around with the guitar and my own voice and coming up with my own way to do it, you know. And then I heard other versions of it by Branford Marsalis, I think, put a version out there that's just incredible, and he's not even playing on it.
Yes,
I think he produced a version of it that's just got a really insane beat with chains and guys singing, you know, that's does justice to where that song comes from.
Yeah, those chains that they use sort of as their rhythm section, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And your lovely wife, Stephanie Schneiderman, always sings with you on that one nowadays. Is that right?
Yeah, we haven't actually done that song in quite a bit, but you're making me want to kind of dig it out again for a show.
Oh Lord, yeah. Oh, I Berta, oh Lord, yeah. Oh, I Berta, oh Lord, yeah. Go ahead and marry, don't you wait for me. Go ahead and marry, don't you wait for me. I might not wonder when you get free. I might not watch you when I go free. Oh, I Berta, oh Lord, yeah. 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 Don't know the difference when the sun go down. I don't know the difference when the sun go down. Raise them up higher, let them drop on down. Raise them up higher, let them drop on down. Oh, I Berta, oh Lord, yeah. 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 When you marry railroad man, when you marry railroad man, every day's a Sunday $1 in your hand. Every day's a Sunday $1 in your hand. Oh, I Berta, oh Lord, yeah. 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 Bird is emerging and she's living at ease. Bird is emerging and she's living at ease. I'm on old parchment, got to work all day. I'm on old parchment, got to work all day. Oh, I birda, oh Lord, yeah. 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 Schneiderman right there, folks. Get her back at the end of the set, too.
Smokin Jamgrass on KMUZ. Man, that is a high-energy version of Birda Birda. Tony Furtado. And
Woo.
yeah, he originally recorded that on his American Gypsy album that came out in 2002. Of course, that track was performed live at the Eugene Celebration back in September of 2006 at the Venue Library stage there. Tony, that was smokin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing that one. There's several tunes that we do that are similar to that, too. Like, there's one Steph and I adapted a little bit called Hurtin' in My Right Side, which has got kind of a similar kind of intensity to it. And then I also do one called Bet on the White Horse, which stems from an old English ballad, I believe, called Stewball the Racehorse. And, through the folk process, it became a much more stripped down thing for the guys to sing.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things for us personally was you guys opening up your home during the pandemic and during quarantine and being able to see your faces in your house and hear your music and to see and hear live music when everybody was just suffering and there wasn't anything going on and you guys putting that out on Facebook and Instagram, on YouTube, and opening up to us was just fantastic. How did you come about that? Did that just come to you, or did your...
Well, I mean, it started off for financial, it's like, well, we need to do something to make some money. I remember the day things got shut down and my tours were being canceled. I remember saying to Steph, hey, we got to stream, and we got to do it now. We got to kind of get in on this now. I'd never streamed before at all.
Right. And
didn't know, all the ins and outs of it. And so I kind of fumbled through a little experiment at my studio with Facebook Live or something. And I was like, okay, there's a lot I've got to learn about this, but got to do it now. And so, the first one we did was cool, but we knew we had a lot to learn. So I started trying to teach myself some of the technology. Found a guy around here named Josh Orchard, who's really just a wonderful, generous spirit and knows the stuff, And so he coached me, and then eventually we started hiring him. But like I say, the initial impetus to do it was financial, but then we also realized that there was this connection happening between us and the audience who were typing in. We were seeing the comments, and that was like becoming this fuel to keep going. And then I remember we had the idea to maybe have a guest musician come and, maybe we'll take the camera and go to our front door. And, they're just kind of doing a door-to-door song. And Casey Neal was the first person we had to do that. And then we kind of refined that and started having the guest out at the back patio on a separate camera, opened up our living room windows to have other musical guests join us all safely, as safe as we could be. We had the tech guy, Josh, out in the backyard under a tent.
Oh, wow.
And you know, we treated it as much like a professional show as possible. And having the musicians join us was this thing that we realized we missed, was just the human connection of musician and musician. And some of our favorite times was after the show, when we would all be outside on the patio, having our drinks,
right,
and chit-chatting and talking about what we were going through. And we needed that.
Yes.
It was also, through the chaos, it was just this landing place for us. I mean, it was a lot of work for us to do. You know how intense it can get producing a show. Mm-hmm. So we would get sponsors, radio co-presenters, whatever we could to kind of help fuel it and keep it going financially, as well as getting the word out about it. It was what we did.
Yeah, it was really amazing, Tony. We could tell, like, watching it. I think we watched it from day one, but you know, we tried to tune in every episode, and we could tell just the sound quality got better, the lighting got better. You know,
yeah.
It just you know, and then having the guests through the window, like you were saying, it was just really. It was just an awesome thing for people to experience while we're all, you know, quarantined and locked up and, you know, pushed away from live music for the first time in our lives. So
I've heard from so many people that it was a really important landing spot for them on Thursday nights, and that made us feel so good.
Yeah, and you're still doing them, right? You're still doing shows. You just had one this last week.
Yeah, I still from time to time will stream a show from the basement because I really love that connection, and there's still a lot of people I don't see that are in parts of the country I haven't been able to get to. So,
right.
You know, and I get a lot of good positive feedback on that.
Yeah.
And we're making noise a little bit about trying to do a Thursday night's live show again here and there, but we haven't made actual plans for it yet.
Yeah, and you just came off of a Midwest tour, right? Weren't you out in the Midwest? Yeah. How's it back on the road again, man? How's it going?
It's hit or miss as far as, you know, my crowd is a little bit of an older crowd. And so I'm not going to say that they're still nervous about going into venues. Some of them are. But I think that there was something that changed, something that went away for some fans of live music, you know. And it's maybe a portion of my crowd is just not going out to see music.
Yes. Yes.
You know, not that they're afraid to go out and see music, but maybe it's just kind of shifted out of their paradigm.
Yes.
And so I'm having to, you know, find new places to play as well as reach out to new audience. And it's, the older I get, the trickier it gets in this business. It's like I'm having to constantly pivot and figure this out and figure that out.
Right. Right.
It's tricky.
Yeah, brand new world. It's just everything is changed forever, and it's you're doing a really great job, Tony. Of, you know, we appreciate everything that you both have done, and Liam. It's been really special.
Yeah, it's like a family affair. Looking at Tony Furtado live streaming with Stephanie, and then Liam. He must have made his debut singing with you guys. That's the last song of each show, right? When you were doing that.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Fun.
Yeah, and
good stuff.
Sometimes he would love it. Sometimes he wouldn't.
Is he picking up instruments these days? Is he interested in becoming a musician at all?
Oh, he's an amazing piano player. Like he's been learning from Stephanie, who teaches kids how to play piano and guitar and write songs. And so Liam has been her student, and he's doing great with all the technique stuff, but the thing that blows me away is when he sits at the piano and just creates. Like,
nice.
He really works at crafting these cool melodies with all this counterpoint and harmony going on. I'm like, wow.
Nice. Oh, proud Papa. That's awesome.
How old is he now?
Oh, yeah. He's 10.
Wow.
Oh, wow. He's got a ways to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, another thing you managed to do during the pandemic is come up with a new album.
Yeah. That was a lot of work.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, that's another thing that I knew had to happen because I'd been wanting to make a banjo album because I hadn't made one since the 90s. And so a lot of fans and friends kept asking me to do it. And so And I'm not that well versed with recording myself either. So that's another thing that I figured I had to sit down and get savvy with.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little more comfortable with my computer and the interface and the software and the miking of my instruments. And once I got it down, I started recording my tracks and sending them out around the country to different friends that I knew would sound great and work out their parts and work with me, because that was part of it. It's like I want it to sound like we're all in the same room, which is so hard.
Yeah.
But we would kind of toss the tracks back and forth like musical ping pong, and eventually they would settle in to where it was like, okay, this feels right now. So it took about a year to record the whole thing and get it where I wanted.
Smokin Jamgrass on KMUZ. We're talking with Tony Furtado. And that's Tony right there with the Matt Flinner Trio doing Squirrelville. I love the name of that song, and it was actually performed at the Pagosa Folk and Bluegrass Festival, Pagosa Springs, Colorado in June of this year. And that's actually from his latest album, released last year. It's called Decembering.
Yeah, for a solo album, it's definitely layered with all the different artists that you got. It sounds like you're in one room. It comes off
That's
really well.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, great job producing that album.
Thank you.
I had no idea that it was all done virtually like that. That's really impressive. Yeah. Wow, that's a big learning curve, Tony.
Yeah.
But you are, like you say, you're an artist of all kinds. Tell us a little bit about your sculptures, because you've made a splash with a lot of the art that you are sculpting. And what is your medium that you use mostly?
It's funny. I'm actually working on a sculpture as I'm speaking to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I wish I could show you. The medium I use is clay. I use it's wet clay, so it's mostly ceramic based. Some pieces will be kind of a mixture of that and other things that I slap onto whatever I'm working on, if it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then some pieces I will glaze, but I'm not a potter, so I've never really gotten that into glazing. It's not my favorite thing. So I use this metal coating that I make that has a lot of metal dust in it, and it's super tough and it's not fired. And so my pieces end up looking a bit like bronze or rusty cast iron or something, you know.
And there seems to be a lot of rabbit themes.
There was for a while. Now I'm in the whale theme, doing a lot of whales.
Nice.
It's this whole series of whales that I've been making is kind of a little bit of a statement that has to do with, human usage of the planet and its effect on nature, and
yeah, it's really
deep stuff like that.
Yeah,
nice.
It's cool how you do that art. It makes me think also Danny Barnes. He also does a lot of his art, and he's a banjo player. So it seems like there's artists who like a lot of different art.
Yeah, you banjoists are multifaceted.
Yeah. I mean,
it's funny. I know a lot of banjo players that are visual artists as well. I know that when I was first coming up as a kid, I remember this woman, Debbie Cotter, who was in the first bluegrass band I ever saw, and she is an amazing nature artist. Oh. And then after that, I took lessons. Years later, I remember taking lessons from a guy named Rick Shub, who invented the Shub capo that everyone uses on their guitars. He did a lot of album artwork, like
cool.
Really great visual artist. So yeah, I mean, I see that in banjo players a lot. It's funny.
Nice.
Right. So we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and you have a show coming up. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. That's going to be at Mississippi Studios. It's the 11th annual show that I've done there, post-Thanksgiving thing. And this year I'm going all acoustic, mostly string players. The band I'll have with me is Luke Price on the fiddle, Jake Jolliffe on the mandolin. He's going to be in town. He grew up around here, but he lives in Brooklyn, I believe.
Yeah.
And he played with Yonder Mountain String Band for a while.
Yeah, Newburgh boy. Yeah,
exactly. And Keith Brush on the bass. Stephanie Schneiderman, of course, will be playing with us and singing.
Yay.
Hans Araki, a wonderful Irish flute player, is going to play with us, but he and Colleen Rainey are going to open up the show with Carrie Novotny is going to be playing guitar with them, and they just sound amazing. It's award-winning. They're all award-winning Irish musicians, and it's just going to add this other element that's just I can't wait for. They've been living in Portland, Maine for a while, and just moved back to the Pacific. They're in the process of moving back to the Pacific Northwest.
Nice.
So be a nice little homecoming for them.
It's awesome that we can do these shows again and have you back at Mississippi Studios. Like you said, the 11th annual. You've been doing this a long time. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so. If anybody's interested in coming on down, get yourself a Tony Furtado ticket ASAP, because I'm sure it'll sell out. And
well, it will, because it's also all seated.
Yes.
And so there's less tickets available.
Yes. Well, it's good for us old timers, you know.
Yeah. Yes. I know.
I bet there'll be some dancing though. There'll still be a little dancing.
Oh yeah. Always dancing always works its way into the show.
Yes. Yes.
Well, cool, Tony. Just so that people know, you're on all the social media outlets.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just look for Tony. And
Yeah.
there's a TonyFurtado.com.
Tony Furtado.
You are.
Yeah.
As long as you can spell my name, I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
But the fur is in the name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We're looking forward to that Thanksgiving show and looking forward to more streams from you coming online. And hopefully people can tune in and check out Tony Furtado and his family as they come to us streaming live from the house, the basement, the backyard. Amazing.
Yeah, the living room, coming live from Portland, keeping it down home here in Oregon.
Nice.
Yeah.
You bet.
Thanks, Tony, for joining us on Smokin Jamgrass. Check out his website, tonyfurtado.com. Check him out on Instagram and Facebook for his upcoming live streams and all his tour dates, and check out his back catalog of music. He's got a wealth of just amazing banjo and slide guitar music. Great singer, great songwriter.
No doubt. And like he said, Jacob Jolliffe is going to be joining him on Friday after Thanksgiving at that show at Mississippi Studios. And Jake Jolliffe, he's a Newburgh guy. He's probably here joining the family for Thanksgiving. And along that note, we're going to play a little of Jake Jolliffe here, along with another Oregonian who's now the fiddler for Billy Strings. It's Alex Hargraves, and he is from Corvallis. So we thought we'd throw just a little more Oregon love into Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, two amazing Willamette Valley prodigies on fiddle and mandolin. So
what is it about Oregon? It's so special.
we got a lot of bluegrass fans here, and the next gen's coming up, and boy, they're good.
They sure are.
Yeah.
So let's smoke a turkey.
Yeah.
This song, maybe we should just call it Smoked Turkey. We don't know this name of this song. It was performed at String Summit in 2015. It was actually Town Mountain, a band from North Carolina.
Yeah.
On the stage, and they invited Jacob Jolliffe and Alex Hargraves onto the stage again back in 2015 to play this song. We reached out to them to find out what this song is, and they didn't even know.
Yeah, these instrumental bluegrass songs, anytime I don't know what it is, I just say it's Bill Monroe.
I'm going to call it Smoked Turkey because I dig that.
There we go.
So here it is, Smoked Turkey on Smokin Jamgrass, KMUZ.
Smokin Jamgrass on KMUZ. We just heard Town Mountain with special guests Alex Hargraves and Jacob Jolliffe from the Northwest String Summit, July 18th in 2015.
We're calling it smoked turkey.
Yeah, that was a great smoked turkey.
Yeah, I love smoked turkey.
Yeah, little taters, get some
yams.
Yeah, don't forget the stuffing.
Well, guess what? It's time now for What's New?
Whoop, 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 whoop.
We've never played this Northwest band on our show before, but it's about time, isn't it? It's a Portland-based band called Never Come Down. They've toured the Great Northwest and all around the world at festivals such as the John Hartford Memorial Festival, Americana Fest, Fresh Grass, and Rocky Grass. Keep an eye out for them because we'll talk about when they're going to be on tour in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to play a couple songs here from their latest album. It came out last year. This is the title track from that album, Better Late Than Never. It's What's New on Smokin Jamgrass, KMUZ.
Come one May nor time.
Smokin Jamgrass on KMUZ. That's Whippersnapper from Never Come Down, a Portland-based bluegrass band who's getting more and more popular as time goes on. And before that, the title track from their latest album, Better Late Than Never. And never fear, because Never Come Down is going to be playing in the Pacific Northwest coming up next at the Belfry in Sisters on December 3rd, and a bunch more upcoming dates. Totally recommend it, nevercomedown.com. And as we roll into Thanksgiving week, that's about all we have for today, but we want to say thank you for joining us.
Big thanks and praises to all our listeners, and especially KMUZ for keeping us on the airways. And it's been a really great time doing the show, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and thanks for tuning in. Much love.
You and I headed straight into the west. Sun is rising behind, we're headed straight into the darkness.